All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and Gibbe here with you as we do the Cleveland Browns Daily. We are brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Good to talk to you, my friend.
Yes.
You, like I, saw this morning the news of our great friend Bernie Kosar, and in the Cleveland Magazine story, I know we both reached out to Bernie independently, heard back from him, as is typically the case with him. His spirits are sky high always.
Yeah.
You've known him longer than I have. I've gotten to know him pretty well here over the last 7 or 8 seasons, or however long it's been since I've been doing this show. And he used to come in regularly. We'd see him once a week. I did a little bit of the TV show with him years ago. I don't recall a single time ever seeing him where he wasn't in the best mood ever. Biggest smile. You'd never know if there was anything good or anything bad going on in his life. You'd have no idea.
Nope.
Because every time he walks into a room, he's got a smile on his face, and he is ready to be Bernie Kosar. And what that means in Cleveland, Ohio, and what that means to a Browns nation is the ambassador for this franchise of the last 50 years. That's what he is. He's been the face of it through good, the bad, through all of it. He's been the epitome of what it is to be a Cleveland Brown, and so he's aware of that, and so he's ready to kiss babies and shake hands because that's all part of it. But he's genuinely one of the kindest, happiest guys I've ever come in contact with in our time. And so to see the news this morning in the piece in Cleveland Magazine, and then to read it and have that kind of hit home, and then hear how positive he's taking all of it and have a little bit of correspondence with him, this one hits hard because he is, I think Z said at one time that he is more popular here than Joe Montana was in San Francisco. I would argue that Bernie is more popular here, or as popular here as any athlete is in any hometown ever. And I'm talking about like Maradona in Buenos Aires, or Messi in Buenos Aires, or Pele in Sao Paulo. I mean, like, it's that type of universal adulation that he has. And so when you hear news of this, and I read it this morning, it hits you hard.
Absolutely it does. My youth in the 80s.
Yeah.
Bernie was as big a part of that as anything. I remember it. His ex-wife was a teacher at Lakewood High School.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like, when they were dating, like, it was like, that's Bernie's lady. Oh, yeah. It was
wild.
It was wild. But, like, Bernie was he still is. He was a god to me growing up. Like, it was Bernie Kosar. It was Bernie. It was Mack and Biner and Slaughter and Ozzie Newsome. And then on the defensive side, it was Clay and Carl Big Daddy Hairston and Hanford and Minifield and Felix Wright. And, like, everybody was lovable, but Bernie was the leader of the group.
Yep.
Like, and you know, Bernie got ready for games, and Bernie performed and performed at a high level. But when it was time to have fun, I'm not sure there was a better ringleader for the fun portion of the program than Bernie. Like, you would see, he would go out to bars. He would hang out with fans. It wasn't like today where everybody's kind of isolated, or there's a VIP room, or there's a back area for everybody to hang out. I mean, those guys, they had drinks with you. Yeah. Like, you could be sitting next to them at dinner. And, I mean, Bernie was the face. And the guy that bucked the draft and, said, I'm going to enter the supplemental draft because that's the best chance for me to come home.
What he did, so there was a couple of weeks ago, it was the anniversary of the supplemental draft, and I knew some of it, but I did not know the full details of how it all happened. And I went and looked it up, and I'll probably get some of this stuff wrong, and people can correct me on social, the parts of it I get wrong. But basically, they used a loophole in terms of his graduation rate at the University of Miami to get him in the supplemental draft. And because he did not declare for the actual NFL draft, well, rest assured, he would have been the number one pick in that draft. And I just talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago. There were 2 teams that tried suing the league, Houston and one other one, that were interested in suing the league for Bernie getting around going into the regular draft and avoiding playing for them. And it was Buffalo who did the deal with us for the Browns to acquire the number one pick in the supplemental draft to acquire him. But because he did not declare for the regular draft, he went into supplemental, and then he was able to get himself in a position where he could be drafted by his hometown team. It's the definition of gets us. He's a Youngstown kid who said, I want to play for the Browns, and I'm going to make sure I do. And he did. And they actually have to put in a rule the following year saying that we can't do that anymore.
Fine, we got our guy.
Yeah, we're good.
Make all the rules you want to make.
Whatever you need to do. Yeah, like Cleveland, we have the Ted Stepien rule, which is you can't sell draft picks consecutively. So that comes from us. And then we have Bernie on the other end of it, who engineered his playing career here. And I think that I was trying to think about this morning in terms of his beloved nature, and there really isn't anybody I could come up with. I was thinking like universally beloved in a city where, I mean, I suppose like Magic Johnson in Los Angeles would probably have that, to where he is the Pied Piper and he's that he's universally beloved. There's probably some NFL situations like that. I don't like Jim Kelly in Buffalo. It feels like it has to be a northern city, with the exception maybe of Magic, where, you know, like we put so much into our sports here, and it matters so much. But I was saying this morning, I don't know if LeBron James never left, and if he had won 3 titles with the Cavaliers, I still don't know if he would have been Bernie. I don't think so. I think just because the Cavaliers will never be the Browns. They never will. Like there is this franchise is so entwined with the fabric of this city and this region. And he was the perfect representation of it through all those years. And I just don't know. I mean, the crazy thing is it's a relatively short period. It's 85 to 92.
Correct.
I mean, you feel like sometimes we talk about Bernie and we think that he played here for 18 years, but he didn't. It was a pretty short stint. It was a brilliant stint, but it was a short stint. They got to the precipice of championships twice, but weren't able to knock down the door. But just universally beloved.
And still to this day.
Yes. Oh,
I mean,
God.
that's...
I had a buddy of mine. He was his girlfriend or his wife is from New York, and she was coming to the Jets game a couple of years ago. And he said, I said, well, what's she wearing? She goes, Jets jersey. And I said, what are you wearing? He goes, I was going to wear a Kosar jersey. I said, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. No big deal.
You're going to be good.
I mean, was it 92? Was that when he got cut?
Yeah.
I believe 92. So then he goes to Dallas, and they couldn't keep Kosar 19 Cowboy jerseys in stock. I mean, it became bigger than a Browns thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it became we're ride or die with our guy and hoping he gets a ring. And when he played in the NFC, I think it was the NFC Championship game, and then he got in at the end of the Super Bowl. Like it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like you were just so happy for him.
Yep.
But he never forgot where he came from.
No.
And he came back and like, hey, I did that, and I played a couple more years, but never. Home was always Cleveland, and that's that doesn't happen much in this day and age. You know,
no.
Players go to other places. They don't stay here in the off season. They don't. It's
few
and far between. Yeah, and guys like him, guys like Deke, Hanford, they've stuck around. They're here, and they're here. They've been here for the long haul, and they're entwined in everything that goes on, and in this world that surrounds the CLE. But it's like we talked about LeBron yesterday when he left.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the Browns came back in '99, who was on the field? Bernie.
Yeah.
When LeBron came back for the first time and Cleveland wanted to be united against the Miami Heat, it's a Browns player that's on the court.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, there were numerous other people, but Bernie's there.
He's always there. I used to do this bit where, like, anytime, especially in the lean years of the franchise, the end of Lerner as the Haslams were sort of taking over ownership, like, it's like anytime you wanted a universal standing ovation in the building, just trot Bernie out to center field and you'll get one.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of that's just if he the amount of times I've seen Bernie honored at midfield, it happens all the time, and rightfully so. But it's just He has that, and he needs us now. He had some quotes in the story here. He is going to need a liver transplant in the future. That is part of it. And Bernie also has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease as well. So he will require that liver transplant in the future. He is just 60. He had this quote in it. He said, "I strongly believe in the power of positive thinking. For me, it's not just a slogan. I believe that positive energy can be manifested in our brains. I love to live in the space of positivity. I want to think about things that are helpful." It sounds like I'm getting on a soapbox here, but I visualize good health. It's not so much that I'm trying to sell it to myself or that I'm in denial as it is choosing to be positive, because everybody's got something. We've all got health issues to some degree. We all have bumps in the road. There you go. That sums it up.
Yeah. And that's a lot of it when it comes down to Parkinson's. Is the power of positivity and the support group. I mean, my father's got Parkinson's. So it's all about the people that are surrounding you and whatever everybody can do to help. And whether it's just a kind word, whether it's thinking about the power of prayer, if you believe in that, and the great medical people in this town.
Yes,
that
we're lucky.
I mean, you're in a good place for problems.
Yes, you are.
So,
yeah, the very best are here.
I believe that nothing but good things are going to come his way, and I mean, this city loves him, and we're all hoping and praying for him.
Absolutely. Jamie, with this, 19 is the reason I love football. We love you, 19. I think that'll be a Browns Nation will wrap its arms around Bernie Kosar today, as it has over the much of his life.
Yes.
I think much more positivity coming his way. Absolutely. You think about how many dogs are named Bernie in this over in the last 40 years of this town? How many dogs, how many cats, how many pets, how many kids' nicknames are that? How many 19 jerseys were sold?
How many babies were born in
how
the
many
80s?
Babies were named Bernie in the 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's the man.
He never wanted to leave, came back, the day that Belichick cut him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was happy we had him in here, and I was happy that he talked about the two of them mending the fences on that. That was, because we've talked to him about that too. So that was all pretty cool through the years that all of that happened. But our thoughts and prayers, the organizations, are with Bernie Kosar today, as that news became public in the Cleveland Magazine story. Coming up next, we'll get into the hot topics of the day, go around some of the sports world as well. A lot of little news and notes here to get to. I mentioned yesterday Burrow on Pardon My Take, some of the highlights from that, some of his comments. Dorian Thompson-Robinson on the program as well. We will break down interior defenders ahead of the 2024 season. Jamari Thrash, rookie first-round pick, on the program today as well. We're off and running. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Part of one of the most passionate fan base in the NFL. Join Next Gen STM, presented by Ticketmaster. Official waitlist of your Cleveland Browns. Being a Next Gen STM, the best chance to become a season ticket member in future seasons. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/nextgenstm to reserve your spot today. Hot topics around the league, presented by University Hospitals. Steelers defensive back Cameron Sutton has been suspended without pay for the first 8 games of the 2024 season for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy.
It was a domestic violence situation that clearly warranted the league stepping in and really
hammering him.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fine with that.
Can't tolerate that.
Nope.
Jaguars defensive end Josh Allen changing his last name to Hines Allen. His reason for the name change is to honor his family members who wore the name Hines Allen on the back of their jerseys. Hines Allen has 3 sisters, all of whom play college basketball. One currently WNBA. He also has an uncle who played in the NBA. There will now only be one Josh Allen in the league. He's out of Kentucky, right? Josh Allen? That's what I thought. Yeah. Defensive end out of Kentucky, first-round pick a couple of years ago. Will this take? Will he demand you call him it?
I guess.
Like, no one ever says their last name anyway.
Here's Hines Allen. Yeah, tackle made by Hines Allen.
I guess.
Okay.
It's always hard when they do this in the middle of it all. Like, we did that with Tyrod Tarod when he was here, and it was like, wait, what?
He literally told us at the podium. It's actually Tarod.
Come again? You played all those years at Virginia Tech and all this time in the league, and you've been Tyrod, and now you're Tarod?
Going into a game. I think week 1. No pressure, but we got to change everything how we call the game and call him.
We're going to go – okay. All right.
Sure.
Very good.
Great. I don't know. Okay. Like, I get it. I appreciate it.
I just feel at some point stop him. I mean, that because of the spelling of my name – I would certainly get on an opposing team announcing starters. I would get a BU. That definitely happened. I would get that. I remember when there weren't many people who recruited me, but those who did, several times it was BEAN, like bean. So I had a coach from one school, Division II school in North Dakota, call me and call my parents' house and ask to speak to Bean Bishop. That's what they asked for. And I thought, well, there's not a bean, but there's a bow, and also I'm not going to North Dakota. So that's the way that's going to shake out. But
not.
So it happens, but like even as a kid who knew nothing, I corrected. Like, you feel like if it's being pronounced wrong, just correct it. Even when you're young, you could have corrected it at Virginia Tech, and this is a different choice, obviously, trying to honor others who did it. It was Maurice Jones-Drew who did it.
Was it Maurice Jones?
It was just he changed it to Jones Drew, or was it Maurice Drew? It was one or the other, but he added it in there too.
Really?
Yeah, there was another. There was the UCLA running back Kareem Abdul-Jabbar who did it at one point, but that was more the spelling. And I think the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball player, tried stopping him. Did I have that right on Maurice Jones Drew?
Although Jones Drew was his legal name, he went just by Maurice Drew early in his Bruins career.
Yeah.
During the 2005 season, he reinstalled Jones to honor his grandfather, Maurice, who died after suffering a heart attack while attending a UCLA game at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So I thought I had that in some form or fashion.
You did.
Yeah. Brandon Ayuk posting pictures and watching Commanders practice film to his TikTok account. The current 49ers receiver slated to play under his 5th-year option this season, but he has made it clear he wants an extension. So if we were doing thing or not a thing right now, Brandon Ayuk posted pictures of him watching Commanders practice film to his TikTok account. The current 49ers receiver is slated to play under his 5th-year option this season, but he's made it clear he wants an extension. Thing or not a thing? Not a thing. Not yet. Not yet. Until something gets close, this is all just the needling. It's just the public negotiation that takes place between player and team. He's been noisy all summer with this stuff. He wants a deal. They're not going to get him one. Until something comes of it, it's not a thing.
I will say this, and I agree with you. If he's doing this in season, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
But why not give him a deal? Like, I'd give him a deal before I'd give Deebo Samuel any more money.
Yeah, I think I don't have any. I mean, Z would have a better handle on, because he has Pedro at his disposal, a better handle on their cap situation going forward. But my hunch would be is they know they're going to have to pay Purdy at some point, and they don't want to get in a position where they can't keep everybody else. Like they paid McCaffrey. They're paying a lot of people right now, and they still have this window where they don't have to pay Purdy, but they're going to have to.
Sure.
So that's
probably after this year.
Yeah, I don't know when his rookie situation. Now he's gotten those bonuses because he's played so well. So it's not like he's making 6th-round money, but he also hasn't gotten $150 million.
Correct.
So at some point that's coming.
So has he played 2 years? Because he went to the NFC Championship game, lost to Philly.
Year in the league or his second?
This would be his third.
This is just his 3rd year. Yeah. So he's just going into year 3.
So I feel like after like day one, contracts are only 4 years. So do you try to get out in front of that?
Well, they would be smart to, right? But also, like, they're paying everybody else. So, like, that's what I'm wondering. I'm sure they would love to have Brandon Ayuk long term, but at the same time, like, they also have to make sure they have cap flexibility in the future.
Yeah.
For the rest of their roster, and especially when they're finally going to have to pay a quarterback, which they haven't had to do.
2025 will be the final year of his rookie contract.
Jeez. So he's got this year and next. So they'll probably do a deal. They'll do a deal after this year with him. When he has 1 year left, that's when they'll do it.
I take that back. This is the final year.
So they probably have a team option for next?
Come the 2020, this is on Yahoo. 2 years ago, Brock Purdy was Mr. Relevant. Come the 2025 season, the 262nd selection of the draft will be playing under a mega-rich contract extension. The 24-year-old Purdy enters the final year of his rookie contract in 2024, which will see him make a salary of $985,000.
So that's it.
So yeah, after year 3.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some of this stuff from all the way back in March around free agency and all of that. The 49ers are ready to pay Brock Purdy. Some of the who's that guy we always have from Arizona Sports? He has some writing on this.
Howard Balzer.
Yeah. Could make so the 49ers will the 49ers play hardball in negotiations with Purdy. So all of this is coming to head this summer. But the 49ers would be able to franchise tag Purdy until 2026 using projections based on 25 as a baseline. So they could tag him for the next couple of years. They could do the Cousins thing and pay him $45 million or whatever that number would be for the next couple of years. So there's that's in play too. He's not going anywhere. But I'm guessing that's why Ayuk hasn't been done, is because they're trying to figure out how to make all that work. I saw this on social this morning as well. The Commanders announced they're bringing back their yellow pants for this year. They'll be worn with the burgundy jerseys. So
it's a good look.
It's a great look. But it's also the Dan Snyder. When he bought the Redskins, that's what he did, is he went burgundy over gold, because when we were young and the Redskins were dominant, it was burgundy over white, and then they would wear white over burgundy, the Joe Gibbs era.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And they wore white at home a lot to stick it to the Dallas Cowboys, so it was a white jersey with a burgundy pant. And it wasn't until, I want to say, Snyder that they started. It's possible in the old days they wore gold pants. It's a great look. It's better, I think, than the burgundy pant.
Sure.
It's really clean. But that's a Snyderism when he brought the team back. I do wonder, like, when do they rebrand that thing and get out from under the Snyder Commanders thing?
There's been a lot of changes. I mean, they've tweaked a lot in-house from a personnel standpoint and front office. And
they steadfastly deny it, Gibby. Anytime that you say, like, are you going to do it, they're like, oh, it's not even on the table.
Now, we were talking earlier, we think they played in an all-black uni last year.
They did. Well, they also had an all-maroon one. They had a maroon over white. They had an all-maroon, and then they had a white over maroon and a white over white. But then they had the all-black, too. They did have a maroon jersey, but it was over white was the idea.
Again, what are you calling yourselves?
See, I don't buy this at all. So this was in end of May this year. The decision not to change the name comes as a relief to many fans who have grown attached to it.
No one has.
Harris comments put the end to rumors speculation that had been circulating. There is absolutely nobody attached to the Commander's name.
No one.
None. No.
Everybody in the NFL hates it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure. And you know what? Maybe I don't know. I think the apathy has settled in Washington. I don't know if they even care about their football team currently.
Not currently. No, and it used to be one of the beacons really in the sport in terms of the amount of
correct
following that they had. It was impossible to get season tickets. Aren't they finally demolishing RFK? I thought they finally got the green light to do that.
Yes.
So they're not going to put that stadium in the Beltway, but it'll be somewhere outside of it. Where will they build the new stadium? I'll tell you, if you had a part of that, I would want that rebrand done. I would want nothing associated with Daniel Snyder, and I would want that rebrand done for the second you walk into that new stadium, if not the year previous.
Even if you just went to like the Washington football team again.
Well, they even
I thought that was fine.
Yeah, and they did they kept saying like the fans wanted this, but they didn't. There was Red Tails had a lot of momentum for the World War II squadron. The Red Tails had a lot of it. There was also Red Wolves had a lot of it. There was a lot of Red Wolves, but they were worried about, I think, the Timberwolves thing or whatever. Sure. But like, I don't know. That doesn't hold much water to me. I think they liked Warriors a lot, but then Golden State, you couldn't have that. And then the other one was the one that Z and I always talk about is Red Hogs. Like it fits in with what they were, the Hogs. They have that crazy mascot thing that they have, that Sergeant Tutty or whatever the hell his name is.
That they unveiled against
that thing
us
was brutal
on New Year's Day.
Yeah, but like you have this connection. There is no team in professional sports that uses a pig. The only one in sport that does is the Razorbacks that I can think of. Like, lean into that, man, and that'd be pretty cool. Like, you could do that cool. You could wear the uniform with the script R that Gibbs wore on his hat. You could put that on the helmet and just go to that look and just put the script R on the helmet. I feel like that solves it. Yeah. I don't know why you don't do that. It seems so easy.
They can't get out of their own way. That's the problem.
And I understand. Look, you just buy a team for $6 billion, and you're like, all right, let's make sure that let's not do anything rash. Like, let's do the right things, because it's been driven so far into the ground by Snyder over 27 years.
And I don't know, like the Nike rules, because you have to keep a uniform. When they made them the Commanders,
we dealt with it because we had the uniform thing, and it's like 4 seasons or something before you can go back.
Yeah,
that's kind of the league's rule, because they build all the merch out, and so you got to get to that point where we can have that sorted out.
Yeah.
But, yeah. To me,
I like the yellow pants.
I like the yellow. I think they look great. Yeah. You don't need a black uniform, and it's ridiculous.
Correct.
We have Hurricane Beryl is at Southeast Texas. Some damage to the roof on Texans' NRG Stadium. The storm put a hole in the roof of the stadium. Are awaiting a full damage assessment. Texans' first home game this year is preseason on August 17th. It will be fixed by then. Are we going to get any remnants of that?
We are.
When is that coming?
Later on today.
Oh, tonight. We get it tonight.
Into tomorrow, I believe. Of course, it's golf league day. I only have like 2 left before my summer's over.
That's it. I just pulled up my AccuWeather app, and there's Barrel Tracker. It's on.
Okay, so what is it telling you? Because I looked at another website, and they were like, it's going to come later in the week to Ohio. And I'm like,
Tuesday night, Thursday morning. Let me check the hourly on this, Gibby.
I think a lot of it's going to go just west of us, but we're going to get some wind, and we're definitely going to get a lot of rain.
All right, so we've got – I mean, it looks like right now it looks like it's going to start raining at any moment, according to AccuWeather.
It's supposed to be overcast most of the day.
And then it's 30%. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. Okay, then tomorrow morning, like 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., a lot of rain. Thunderstorms 8 and 9 o'clock tomorrow, and then all afternoon you get it again.
Of course it is.
It looks like a lot of thunderstorm.
And then it
looks like it's
wonderful.
I think we're in the clear. It's not going to do you any good. But I think we're going to be in the clear by the time you get like Thursday and Friday, and then it's going to be back to hot as buckets over the weekend.
All right.
So that's where you're at. 98% chance of rain tomorrow. Can I interest you in that? You're not golfing, brother.
It's fine. I got to get some other stuff done around here anyways. 2 weeks from tomorrow, I leave for West Virginia, so I got to get a few other things done anyways. I was hoping just for like 3 hours of solitude.
Is there any fan interaction down there at the Greenbrier?
I don't believe so.
So like they don't, not to send our fans to West Virginia, it's quite the haul, but like if there were fans, because I've been there and I was trying to think, is there any place where people could get up high enough to watch? And there is, I think, right?
There are bleachers.
Yeah.
I don't believe anything is open to the public. And it's interesting because, the highway, the one highway is
right there,
right by it. when the team comes out to start practicing, there are multiple West Virginia State troopers. Lights on, no stopping, no watching.
Keep going. We're cruising.
Don't even think about it. I know we've had some corporate partners and some VIPs that we bring in, but I don't believe any interaction.
How do you, for people who have not been there and they ask you what it's like, how do you attempt to make sense of that place? It's beautiful. It's a stunning setting.
Sure, yeah.
It's
especially right when you pull in the main road right up to the
stunning.
The main building.
It's not just, folks. It's not just that they built a football facility there. They also built like a 8,000 seat tennis center there. Like it's like a mini U.S. Open tennis venue is there. They have 3 18-hole golf courses that anybody can play. The Old White is the most expensive.
Liv will be there 2 weeks after us.
So Liv is usually there. Yep. And then they have the other thing is they have that really private course that they have there as well.
I believe Z's gotten to play that.
He did, with the Luminary, so that you can. So you have that. You have like the hot springs, and you also have like a bunker, a nuclear bunker is there.
Yeah, if the world's ending next week or 2 weeks.
If you want to go falconing, you can go do that. You can shoot guns. You can get pulled on a carriage. There's ATV.
Who was the player we saw in the carriage as we were golfing last year? It was our off day. We got to golf, and one of the guys was literally in the back of the carriage by himself.
It's kind of cool.
Like around.
They tell you like everything that happened, the history of it, and where it came from.
Yeah,
and
pool is amazing.
There's that crazy. There's that beautiful church that's right in the middle of kind of like their oval.
Yep.
The pool's great. Overlooks the golf courses. We were there for 3 or 4 days. This was a couple summers ago. Just as like we just got to get away for a couple of days, and we're like, I've never been. Like, let's go. So we drove down. I just would say like I've never been anywhere like it. Like the decorations were all that Dorothy Draper really bright. Like it about makes your head explode.
Looks like Rainbow Bright threw up.
It does. It's really bright, man. Like people think I'm like. I remember coming out of the elevator, and then West Virginia president and former Ohio State president Gordon Gee was asleep on a bench. And I knew Gordon because he was at Ohio State when I was doing all the coaching shows. I knew him really well. He was just sleeping on a bench at the bottom of the elevator, like just laying out. I'm like, what is going on? This place is the craziest place ever.
Yeah. And like the governor owns it.
Yeah, Jeffries owns it.
Yeah.
He's the governor. He's the wealthiest guy.
We'll see the governor first day. He'll be on a golf cart driving around.
Yeah, it's wild.
I tried to describe. I'll never forget. Like I told my wife, I go, when you come down here, like the picture I sent you. She's like, "What's the hotel room look like?" Because I heard about that.
Yeah.
I go, it's not going to do it justice. Like the bathroom is like black and white tile.
Yes.
The carpet is a solid color. And it's usually a pretty bright color.
Really bright, yeah.
And then the walk-in closet, because the closet's crazy big, is one design. The rest of the place is a whole nother design, and all different. It is every color on the color wheel in use. If you want ice, there's no ice machine. You have to call down.
Yes, they bring it.
And a bellhop brings you a bucket of ice.
That's right.
Definitely needed more ice. A lot more.
They have the bowling alleys.
Yeah.
Then they have the indoor pool.
See,
I'm just looking at the pictures with
I don't
the boys.
think we're allowed. We're not allowed in the basement because there's a casino.
Well, you can get it's a different wing. You can get to.
Look at his back.
Oh,
look at his back.
Finally working. Look at him, gorgeous.
He'll be at the Greenbrier.
Of course he will.
I guarantee.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Like here are like these pictures I took of the boys, like flowered.
You can see in
pastels.
The background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're all in like their suits. Look at the size of the rose over NBC's head. For God's sakes.
Yeah, it is an interesting, unique place. I'm happy that I'm on the Cleveland Browns dime for it. because it's a little pricey.
Yeah. They love their history.
They do. And I will say this: everybody that works there is over the top.
Oh my God, they got indoor tennis. I forgot about this. They have the indoor tennis facility.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot we played pickleball.
They are very, very nice, and whatever you need, they can get it for you, and they can take care of you. That is him.
I forgot him living his best life. That's at
ice
Sam
cream
Snead's.
sundae
He got an
bigger than this thing.
He did get an ice cream sundae. Yeah, that was quite large.
Good wings at the sports bar there.
Yeah.
Good food.
Yeah.
I mean, the food was very good. If you get a chance to go into like the little town there.
Yeah,
little town's got some cool little bars and restaurants. You're also 45 minutes from some of the best whitewater rafting in the United States.
You're very close to that,
which I've done, and I recommend it. The Gorge and
isn't there like another resort down there, like the Omni or something that's down there too? That's like a monster resort, like just in the middle of the hills. So
yeah,
very cool. Cool place.
It's a trek, but
it's a hike.
It is. It's very good.
And if it's raining, it's really hard. And when we drove down there, it was raining, and you're driving through these mountains, and you're like, there is no berm. It went line mountain. Like there was no. If I'm like, I said to my wife, and I hate it when I even say this out loud in the car. I'm like, if we get a flat tire, I don't even know what happens here. Do we shut down the freeway if I get a flat tire here? Possibly, because there's no pulling off.
No.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And like. People go fast, like 18-wheelers go at speeds that I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea, but okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Storms coming over the mountains. We got caught in one last year. Uno almost died trying to rescue a backdrop. I mean, there were new deck chairs. They ended up on a hill.
Yeah. That's
football fields away.
I remember that.
It comes at you quick.
I remember that from when it decided to rain. It was like, oh, it's going to rain.
Yeah.
And you understand how they had the flooding that they had down there because the way they were explaining it to me, when it comes in and gets stuck in those valleys, it basically just gets stuck.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to blow it out, so it just buries it in rain. Absolutely does. Did you play golf down there?
We did. We played. We only had one day off, and I negotiated with the club pro. And
nice,
because I'm like, I can't play at the price you're asking for.
But if I remember right, the kid. I don't know if it was the same guy when you guys, because we were there the year before. He was a huge Buckeye fan, like the head pro was, and he was like, "Yeah, you're good." Like he hooked it up pretty good, and then like after a certain hour. They really took care of you.
Correct.
If you wanted,
Yeah, that's what we teed off at like 3:00.
And then you just sip.
Yeah. It was one of those where I was like, look, I'm not asking for freebie.
Yeah.
But like,
can
I get a little discount because the $320 for 18 in a card is not going to work for my bank account.
Also like that was the old white prices, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like there were two other ones that are both really fun.
Yeah.
That are really cool. Me and the boys played all three when we were down there, and there wasn't much difference between the old white and the other ones. They were all pretty much the same.
Yeah,
the other one, which
was
was it like the Snead?
Yeah,
that's the one that was like only like the people who live there, or luminaries.
Yeah,
have the ability to
exactly. That's on the side of the mountain.
Yeah. On the way to West Virginia, kind of, sort of, you'll go by where Joe Burrow kind of, sort of used to be at the University of Ohio, or Ohio University. Burrow was on Pardon My Take. I mentioned this yesterday. He was on Pardon My Take this week. You mentioned that how he doesn't do – it's interesting how he chooses what media to do and what not to do.
This is the most I've seen him do in quite some time.
So he does them every year. He does Pardon My Take. He did it last summer too. But like Ben Baby and some of the other guys I've talked to who are on that beat are like, we never get to talk to Burrow. Like nobody gets to talk to him. He just doesn't do it, and they must not make him. But he does go on PMT and talks about a bunch of things, including the notion of playing for a gold medal in flag football. He said, quote, "I really want to play for the Olympic flag football team. Like me, Jamar, Justin, me and my friends out there playing football. I think it'd be really cool." I don't understand why flag football is an Olympic sport. I mean, this is absurd. What are we doing? Like you could have 150 teams that are American that would beat what country would be second in flag football? And how far distant? Where would the very best flag football team of fill-in-the-blank country land in the American flag football team hierarchy if we had like Mahomes had a team, Burrow had a team, like if all the NFL guys played?
I don't know.
I don't understand flag football as an Olympic sport at all.
No, I don't either. But they want it. They want it's an overall effort to grow flag football,
which I think is really smart. And I think that the NFL has done a pretty good job with flag football. And When Darryl was here, he used to do a lot of that, and even with the full contact. But like, there is a bit of a crisis in the sport right now where the numbers aren't where they used to be in the youth level with football. Now, some of that's other options, and some of it is parents are a little weary about sticking a helmet on a kid at a young age. And if there are alternatives, play flag as long as you can. Just keep them in the sport. Keep your best athletes in the sport, and don't have a stigma attached to flag where there doesn't need to be one. So that's probably the win on all of that. He also had this to say. This is Joe Burrow talking on Pardon My Take about Ohio State and LSU in terms of his allegiance.
What would you say to Ohio State fans that try to claim you?
I didn't play football there. I mean, I practiced football there. But
did a lot of practicing.
I did a lot of practicing and lifting.
You graduated?
I graduated. I usually tell people that I went to school at Ohio State and I played football at LSU.
That's good. I like that.
I got a lot better from practicing at Ohio State, but I didn't get to play, so I don't really say that I played.
Here's what I would say about Joe. I don't know a single Buckeye fan who's trying to claim him. I don't know anybody who's like, hey, man, we got Burrow. Like, no, he played at LSU, and that's been his stock answer on that for years, which is I went to school at Ohio State and I played at LSU. I think where this comes from is recruiting, and sometimes Ohio State will use him as an image of like, here's a guy we developed, and that's 100% true. He was developed at Ohio State. He was there for 3 years. He graduated from Ohio State. He was cultivated at Ohio State, and then he went to go play at LSU. It's what his Ohio State experience was very much like a kid going to business school, and then you go to LSU to go work for the finance company. Like, that's what he did. Because what he was when he got to Ohio State and when he left were two things differently entirely. There's this misconception that Burrow was like a 5-star recruit. He was not. If you go look at his recruit, he was a 3, sometimes lower 4-star, but high 3-star. But much of that was because Ohio State offered him. The only other places, it was like Ohio State, Nebraska, and that's because his brothers played at Nebraska, his dad played at Nebraska. He wasn't getting Alabama offers or Georgia offers coming out of high school. He was a kid who went to the Plains High School in Athens. He was really good. He's a damn good basketball player too. But he was not what he ended up being when he got to LSU. That was developed at Ohio State in terms of fitness, regiment, when it comes to weightlifting, diet, all of it, preparedness. He went to quarterback finishing school for 3 years, and then he went to LSU and applied his trades.
And he did it quite well. Who beat him out in the 3 years?
Dwayne Haskins.
All 3 years?
No. So, well, for again, like his freshman year, it's J.T. Barrett, and J.T. Barrett was a 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So his freshman year, it's Barrett. His sophomore year, it's Barrett. Then he is slightly ahead of Haskins going into his junior year and Haskins' redshirt sophomore year. Burrow gets hurt. Haskins goes in the Michigan game when Barrett gets hurt and lights it up. And everyone's like, oh, here's the future. We see it. So the two of them go into spring that March and basically play to a dead heat. But in Urban's head, he knew that Haskins was great in the Michigan game, and he knew he could handle live action. So Urban, to his credit, went to Burrow in March and said, we're going to go with Haskins. I want you to stay, but I understand that you want to play. I get it. So anything you need, we'll make it happen for you. And then Joe became a free agent. So this was in the spring of 18. It was Nebraska, Cincinnati, and LSU were the three. And there were people down there saying, well, go to Cincinnati. Luke Fickell's there. He knows you. Go to Nebraska. There's familiarity. And actually, Nebraska coach Scott Frost at the time said, I don't think Burrow's any better than the guy we got, Adrian Martinez. Bit of a miss there. By the way, Scott Frost is no longer the coach at Nebraska. LSU took him. And I argued at the time, and there's audio of this, that that I would have gone to LSU because you knew that they had talent. And I said, if you win at LSU, you're a god forever. Like just a little. Like no one foresaw him win a national title. Like beat Bama once, and you'll never pay for a dinner in the state of Louisiana the rest of your life.
Yep.
And so he went there, and really his first year there, he was just okay. Towards the end of his first year, it really took off. And then his senior year is arguably the greatest season a college quarterback has ever had. It's that one and the Cam Newton year when Cam won the Heisman. Those are the best, in my opinion, the two best single seasons a quarterback's ever had in college football.
Is it one of
Here's why it's not.
If Urban has 10 regrets, is it
It's
one
not, because Haskins threw for 50 touchdowns and was a Heisman finalist
Correct.
in that year when Burrow was kind of finding his way at LSU. And the next year they got Justin Fields, who was a Heisman finalist. So, like, they got 2 Heisman finalists and 2 first-round picks. Burrow went to LSU. Kind of like everybody won. I suppose he wins a little bigger, but it's not like they missed on Burrow and the backup was some kid who can't play.
Sure.
The backup was a first-round pick.
Like Scott Frost's problem.
It's not this. No, they didn't do that.
It's not Scott Frost.
No, it's not. It's not Scott Frost. All right, coming up next. Speaking of quarterbacks, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, one-on-one with Z. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bo here for my friends at Jim Beam, and what do sports and Jim Beam have in common? Both are better when enjoyed with others. So grab a bottle, gather your friends, enjoy the game, because with Jim Beam, you come as fans, you leave as family. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Copyright 2024, James B. Beam Distilling Company, Claremont, Kentucky. Drink smart. And now here is Z, one-on-one with our, I guess, third-string quarterback now, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Very impressive. Let's have a listen.
Very happy now to be joined by Brown.
You're down.
Your quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR. First of all, great to see you back on the field. How are you feeling?
Oh, I feel amazing. Grateful, I think, is my only emotion right now. Just being able to get back out here on the grass, get my feet back under myself, get confident with the guys, get back around the guys, and being able to just do my job again. I felt amazing out there. So,
when you reflect on last year, what do you make of the season? Not just for the team, but for you, because in many ways it was an unbelievable roller coaster with some high highs and then a seemingly unfair low with the injury and the timing of all that. When you kind of look back at all of that, what do you take away from that season?
I think just a great foundation for the rest of my career. There was a lot of bad, a lot of good, all things learning, and nothing but growth ahead. So, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better rookie year. Obviously, being on a playoff team first year was definitely fun and exciting. Getting different guys in the building like Joe and PJ, when Deshaun was down, and getting those experiences and being able to share stories with them, I think will help me in the long run too. So,
yeah, for sure. And listen, you were a part of, and today at minicamp practice, Jim Donovan was the one who came out and did the breakdown. And you know that what I'm probably going to say next is when he made that return against Pittsburgh, the emotion there. And that was the game that you led the Browns at home on a game-winning drive to set up a Dustin Hopkins field goal to beat the Steelers in Donovan's return in an insane atmosphere. Like, is that, when you look back at that, is that the thing that you remember the most maybe about last season, just how truly special that was?
Yeah, I mean, that week overall would have been my birthday week, getting the call on my birthday that I was going to be up, and being able to go through that week of practice with the guys behind me and everybody knowing I was going to be up that week. So, yeah, that was definitely one of my more enjoyable moments of my rookie year for sure.
So I was watching the video back because I put out a tweet congratulating Jim on his retirement, and I picked the video of his call of the field goal make to beat the Steelers. You couldn't even look. You were on the sideline. You were head down, couldn't look, and then they told you, and you were just like pure joy, right?
Of course. Just a whirlwind of emotions. Again, a super special moment for me, being my first win. And just all the work that I put in to get there, as well as where I'm getting to now and trying to strive ahead. I couldn't be more proud of myself as well as my teammates. So
let's go to Denver for a second, because I really thought you had it, like it in the middle of that game. It just kind of clicked for you, and you started going. We scored 2 straight possessions, and obviously we know the injury comes after that. You get knocked out there. But did you feel that too? Was your confidence, is that where you're kind of like, I got this? And I know you had confidence from that game-winning drive, but it felt like in the middle of that game something changed, and you were starting to make real good anticipatory throws. You had that big-time out on the right side that I remember pretty well. Like, was that a moment where you said to yourself, and as you come back and draw the inspiration, trying to come back from an injury, like, yeah, I was on the ascent right there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, really just playing off of the Steelers game, I really felt like being on this team, you're never counted out the game at what point in the game it is, especially with this defense and the guys that we have on offense. So taking that into Denver, there was definitely more of a comfortability, again, getting a whole week of practice under my belt, and just being able to just continue to grow. I think that was the biggest part of it. But, man, would have been nice to not get injured that game, because we were for sure on a roll going towards the end of that game for sure.
Yeah, and then you would have gotten to go back to UCLA at your facilities and play, which I know had to be absolutely brutal. So maybe in the future we'll have to dial that up again when you get another shot.
Of course, for sure.
All right, so you're back here now at your room. Some new faces in there. In comes Jameis, in comes Huntley. What's it kind of been like in that room with the 4 of you? And obviously it is a very unique and special quarterback room here in the National Football League.
Yes, sir. I mean, I can't say enough about Jameis and Tyler. Everybody knows about Deshaun and how well of a person and player he is. But for those two to just come right in and make the room a very close-knit group, we hang out outside the buildings. We're talking all the time. We're communicating. We're asking each other questions. There is no rookie or veteran guy in the room. Everybody's on the same level with learning a new offense. So we're all collaborating, trying to learn it all together, as well as helping the rest of the offense get it down packed. So I couldn't speak enough about those two guys for sure.
Is Jameis amongst the most entertaining teammates you've ever had at any level?
Yeah, you can say that for sure. Yeah. I'm not gonna say anymore. You got to meet him to figure that out. But yeah,
To appreciate the full great and the fact that I don't think he has an off switch. I think it is all on all the time.
no, that's him. That's who he is. I love him to death for it too. So.
Yeah. All right, so this offense, you mentioned learn a new offense. Ken Dorsey comes in. I talked to you before we started this, and immediately, I know you're going to ask, yes, I love it. What do you love about it?
I mean, you're going to get a lot of guys with a lot more options to do different things, giving the quarterback more field to work with, and just a lot more space to attack on the defense, making them have to cover the whole 53 and a third, and not just one or two sides of the field or just the run game or just the pass game. So I think it'd be very balanced. I think Dorsey's going to, collaborate with Kevin as well as the rest of the offensive staff to just put together what fits whoever's in the game at quarterback, what fits his strengths. So,
when you come from college, right, and you were in UCLA, you were in the shotgun a great deal. Deshaun's been in the shotgun his whole career. Jameis has been in the shotgun his whole career. I don't know if people realize how different it is, right, going from under center back to the defense. You have a quick snapshot, back to the defense, turn around, then you have to make that decision, as opposed to being able to be in shotgun and see what you've all done your whole lives. And there's going to be a lot more of that, certainly, in this offense. Is that something you're just all more comfortable with when you guys talk about it?
I think that's what this time of the year is for, getting out on the practice field with OTAs, minicamp, training camp, and just ironing out those reps.
Yeah.
And being able to just get comfortable, whether it's spending time on the practice field or outside of it in your own time, to make sure that you're as comfortable as possible when the lights are on. So,
yeah, you excited to get back to the Greenbrier? I remember talking to you there. Had got some reps. I'm like, you're gonna get your time. Boom, first one, bomb, touchdown on your first set of downs.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm excited. That's always a great time, or at least it was last year for team bonding. That's really where I got to know a lot of the guys on the team, know their backgrounds, where they're from, what inspires them. So I'm definitely excited for that, as well as I'm not the rookie this year, so I get to see all the rookie talent shows and things like that, and get to boo them on and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for Greenbrier.
You and your bud said, obviously. We've talked. We know the story there. Played together in high school. You guys hanging out around town. I got to see you out there at for the DJ James Kennedy. That's right at Ford. How are you guys having fun, kind of going through this together, being able to go into your second year together, trying to take that big leap together?
Right. I mean, like you said, it's all about being together. Nobody feels uncomfortable in any situation because we know we have each other's back. Yeah. So I think that
30-30.
Part about it is that you can just go out there and be free because you have your brother behind you, and if we're both wrong, then we're both wrong together. So,
Any plans for once we break mini camp over the summer? I know you're going to be grinding and working, but any trips or anything like that?
Yeah, we got a couple lined up. We're going to Paris, going to Cabo with the boys, getting some time off in June, and then we're back at it down in California for all of July. So.
Paris.
Yeah, trying to make it down to Miami too, with all the quarterbacks and the receivers, get all together and have a couple workouts. So
that'll be awesome. Well, DTR, always a pleasure. Great to see you back out here. Excited for you this season again.
I appreciate you guys. Go Browns.
You're up.
All right, there you go, Z and DTR. Coming up next in the second hour of the program, defensive tackle, how the NFL grades our guys and some of the best guys at the position around the league. We'll get into a little bit of the broadcasting news in the world of sports today as well. And Jamari Thrash, fifth-round pick receiver out of Louisville, will sit down with Gibbe. So you have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. All right, yesterday we did the running back position. So now we will compare defensive tackle lists. We have the PFF list, and then we also have the ESPN list. So it's friend of the program, Sam Monson, who does the top 32 interior defenders ahead of 2024. Remember, there's the reason I find these interesting is the PFF numbers are completely analytical, so there is no subjective nature to any of it. They have a grading system. They plug in the data into the grading system, and that spits out
That's what you get.
The ranking. The Fowler list is talking to personnel guys in the league, and so it's entirely subjective. It's interesting. Yesterday we did the running backs, and I think 9 out of 10 matched.
Yeah, Breece Hall was the one that didn't.
He was the only one that didn't.
He was number 2 on one list and 8 on another, but everything else – I think Aaron Jones was the only one not in the top 10 list between the two.
Yeah, everybody else matched up.
Yeah,
and was Breece 2 on the front office list or on the PFF list?
On the front office.
So that's the subjective.
Yeah, because Derrick Henry was number 2.
That's right. All right, so let's try it this way. So I've got the ESPN list, and you have the PFF list?
I do. Now this is unique this year. As Jeremy Fowler writes, there's no Aaron Donald, who has been the consensus number 1 for, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
At least?
You forget about that. Yeah, it's rare. Just for a couple of minutes on him, it's pretty interesting that we basically had, for the longest time, like you could not crack the all-time NFL starting lineup, and we have, with Brady and Donald, both guys cracked it in the last 15 years. Donald would absolutely be one of the starting defensive tackles, and Brady's the starting quarterback on that list.
Yeah.
And that was a list that was pretty hard to get into. Like forever, it was Mean Joe Green, and it was this, and that was it. But Donald he cracked it.
So, and that's what Fowler says. Aaron Donald consistently garnered more first-place votes than any other player in the 4 years of polling at any position since we started this exercise in 2020.
That's what it felt like.
And he also said, let's not forget about Fletcher Cox, who was a former number 3 on the list, who just retired.
Yeah, so that makes an awful lot of sense when you think of it in that manner. All right, so number 1 on the Fowler list is Chris Jones, which feels pretty appropriate.
I mean, he held out last year, and it worked out quite well for him. And
80% of the first place votes. So he was easy.
Yeah.
He once stole votes from Donald. He writes he's now in a class by himself. Here's one of the quotes. His size and consistent dominant effort is just so hard to block. He sets a mismatch because of how long and strong he is, and he can win from every spot. Edge over center, B gap, led all defensive tackles with 35 sacks over the past 3 years.
Yeah, 24 more pressures than any other interior defender over the past 2 seasons. Again, a guy that probably is like, I could have had a couple first-team All-Pros.
Yeah, I just was pulling him up because, Z and I always talk about that when you think about, like, what does it take to be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
So he's a 5-time All-Pro, Pro Bowler on 5 occasions, and a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Is he first-team All-Pro?
He's first-team All-Pro twice, third-team 3 times. But he's 3-time Super Bowl champion and
probably not a first ballot, but
he's heading there, though. He's 30.
Yeah.
So he's out of Mississippi State, 2nd-round pick. Just a dude. A dude. Yeah, he's definitely heading there. He's all-pro every year except 19. He's been a Pro Bowl every year since 2019. He's an all-pro every year since 2018. So, yeah, he's a dude. He's a dude. He's number 1 with a bullet. Number 2 on the front office list from ESPN and Jeremy Fowler, Quinnen Williams.
PFF has him as number 3, and they have Dexter Lawrence at number 2, who's number 3 on the ESPN list.
So there you go. So they just inverted those two. So they go Williams, Lawrence on the front office, and then it went the other way on the PFF list on that one. Then it goes Jeffrey Simmons out of the Titans is 4 on the pro personnel list.
Wow. Number 8.
Okay.
On the Titans list.
How did I lose my pen, Gibby?
I don't know.
All right, so we had Simmons.
Simmons recorded 47 total pressures, 29 defensive stops, and 23 while marred by injury. and that campaign still featured at least one dominant outing where he notched a pair of sacks and 6 QB pressures against the gutless Falcons in Week 8.
The gutless Falcons. They're not going to be gutless anymore.
I don't know.
I got to find a new gutless team.
I don't know yet. I need to see the non-gutlessness.
I don't know who's going to be gutless. We got to pick one every year. Justin Matabuke is 5 from Baltimore. He's 5th on the personnel list.
Yeah, that cost him, having to bring him back cost them some other players.
Yeah. 4 years, $98 million for Matabuke.
So these are off a little bit. PFF has him into number 11.
Okay. All right, so that's the first one outside the top 10.
Yeah.
This is harder, too, though. Like D-tackle is –
yeah.
That's tough. The personnel guys have Christian Wilkins out of the Raiders at 6.
Great player. Big loss for the
Miami, right?
Yeah, big loss for Miami. Where is he? Oh, he's number 10.
Okay, so he's still in the top 10 at least. So right now, just Matabuke is outside the top 10 off the personnel, juxtaposed to the PFF list. All right, heading in at number 7 is Derek Brown, Carolina.
Brown is number 4 on the PFF list.
Okay, so he stays in it. And then DeForest Buckner is 8.
I feel like he's been playing forever.
It does, yes. He's only 30. He's 30 years old. But it does. You're right. It feels like he's been really good for an awful long time.
Yeah, he's number 6 on the list.
All right. So far we just have one outside the top 10 in terms of a mix-up. Number 9 is Kenny Clark.
Where in the
You're scrolling a long time, my friend.
Did I miss it? Hold on.
Easy.
Maybe I screwed that up.
Kenny Clark. One AFC executive says, I don't feel he gets enough credit. Better defensive tackle than most. He has a lot of similarities to that real guys have at the top. Size, power, athleticism, can play multiple spots. He was 5th previously on the list. That was his highest ever ranking. Last year he was an honorable mention on this list, and he ends up 9 on Fowler's list.
He's number 27 on PFF.
Gosh. That's a big That's the biggest one we've seen by far, those two.
Yeah. I was like, okay, did I miss him?
Yeah. And then Javon Hargraves with San Francisco is 10 on this list. One NFL executive on Hargraves, he always had a deep rush toolbox with a good effect to the quarterback. He was a little quieter than we were prepared for when he was in Philly, but he remains an issue as an interior rusher. Number 10.
Who was it, Hargraves?
Hargraves. Javon Hargraves.
PFF had Jones, Lawrence 2, Quinnen Williams 3, Derek Brown 4. They had Cam Hayward number 5.
So Cam is on the honorable mention on the ESPN list.
They had Buckner 6th. Oh, Hargrave was number 7 on this list.
Okay, so the only one – so there should have been 2 that weren't on – give me the top 10 again for PFF.
Chris Jones was number 1.
Yep.
Dexter Lawrence 2. Yep. Williams 3. Derek Brown 4. Cam Hayward 5. Buckner is 6th. Hargrave is 7. Simmons is 8. One that we haven't talked about, Jalen Carter was number 9.
Oh, the rookie out
Philly.
of Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah, the baby rhino.
Yep. Christian Wilkins was number 10.
Okay. So those are your 2 differences, Hayward and Jalen Carter. You remember this, and I know that you do. I'm asking rhetorically. When the Eagles showed up here for the year they went to the Super Bowl and they showed up for the team practices and their defensive line got off the bus and you went, oh. I see.
And then their offensive line got off the bus.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, they walked right by.
We're not small. We had one of the best
the
offensive lines in the league. We had Miles. We had all this, but they were on another level.
Wasn't Joe Thomas with us?
Joe was with us,
and we were all like,
"Holy smokes,
my God!" But it changed the philosophy in this building
totally.
Because last year, got a lot bigger.
Dude, just think of it from the perspective of, well, you remember that. When we were, I remember all of us having that conversation. It was you and me and Z and Joe, and we were talking about, like, if Jalen Hurts can go, they've got everything. Like, A.J. Brown was there, like all those running backs, all that speed, those lines. It was like, and they bullied us. And then we knew.
We had like one good series, and we're like, oh, we can hang. No,
we couldn't
hang.
No, they they were built different 2 years ago. And then last year it kind of went the other way, right? And you were like, okay.
Yeah. Now the one I'm going to call it a snub, and I'm going to put my brown and orange goggles on, but how's Dalvin Tomlinson not an honorable mention?
He gets nothing on
He was number 26 on the PFF
list. I mean, they only did, what did they do? They did 6 honorable mentions.
And then
they also did receiving votes.
And he didn't make it in there.
They did another 1, 2,
Ed
3.
Oliver.
Yeah,
on the horse.
Not even there, yeah. Well, he's got a chance.
I mean, does he need more sacks? Sure, but
yeah,
I mean, he helped open everything up for everybody on the ends and for our linebackers.
Yeah, he was very, very good.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go around the broadcasting world coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Attention homeowners, is your roof ready to withstand another harsh winter? I know it'll be here before we know it.
Bite your tongue.
I know. I don't want to speed through anything, but you know it's
this Megan.
Here. It's coming.
This is Megan's doing to put that in the script.
It's going to be cold. Right now's the time, Gibby. Get it fixed now before you
do.
make the mistakes in the winter. Don't wait too late. Renew Home Exteriors offering a free roof inspection with a detailed report and quotes from repairs or replacement. The expert team at Renew will assess the condition of your roof and provide you with the information you need to make an informed decision before the winter months arrive. Protect your home and your family from the elements. Visit RenewEstimate.com today to schedule your free roof inspection. Don't let winter sneak up on you. Renew Home Exteriors, your trusted partner in home maintenance, keeping your home safe and sound, one roof at a time. Before we get into some of this broadcasting news that is out there, we had the Arch Manning. He's in the video game.
Okay,
So
he wasn't, and now he
wasn't.
is.
So he's not in it. He was like the only notable player who wasn't. Now he's not a starter; he's a backup at Texas. But he was the only kind of notable player who wasn't in it. And then he puts out a video with him and Eli in it. And he says, it's in the game, I'm in the game, and he's in. He's the most celebrated backup, maybe in the history of college football, quite honestly. It times up interestingly, though. He spoke to The Athletic. He hasn't spoken really at all since he's been at Texas, and he did an interview with The Athletic about how hard it has been to sit and watch. Quinn Ewers, who's the starter at Texas, was formerly at Ohio State. He talked about how he thinks Arch will come out in the better for this. And the one thing Quinn did, which is kind of a false equivalency, he said, look, I know what it's like to sit. I had to sit at Ohio State. I'm like, dude, you're at Ohio State from like the third week of August until the middle of November, and then he was gone. The kid was vaporized. Like he was
correct. He had a nice little NIL deal too.
Yeah, he didn't know. Yeah, it was upwards of $2 million, and he didn't. Now that wasn't from Columbus. That was a kombucha deal that he had in Texas, which I'm getting a little bit into the weeds for our audience, but like he did not want to leave South Lake Carroll, which is a powerhouse in Texas. He didn't want to leave high school. They were the number one team in the country. He was the National Player of the Year, all of those things. But in order to capitalize on his NIL, he had to graduate early. So that's how it all got fast-tracked. He basically went to Ohio State and said, I'm coming. They're like, we'd rather you didn't. And he said, well, I'm coming now or never. And they said, okay, fine, we'll take you. And they took him. But there was never any plan for where a 17-year-old was going to unseat C.J. Stroud as a starting quarterback at Ohio State. So meantime, Arch has sat for 2 years. It will be 2 years. Do you know where his first game will be as a starting quarterback if this year goes according to plan and Quinn starts every game?
No idea.
A venue you've heard of, the Horseshoe. So next year, Texas opens in Columbus against Ohio State in what would be Arch Manning's first game. The presumptive quarterback for Ohio State on that day will be a kid named Julian Sayin, who was the number one high school quarterback prospect in the country last year. So next year, first game of the year, is Arch Manning versus Julian Sayin. Texas and Ohio State both will be ranked in the top 5 in the country. I believe it will be the most expensive ticket in the history of Ohio Stadium. I think it's in play. It's a Texas game.
It's Arch Manning's debut.
If indeed it is, and honestly, even if he's just playing and he started some game this year because Ewers got hurt, it's going to be a brutal ticket there. Think about the celebrities that'll be there. You know, the Manning family would be there. That whole group. Matthew McConaughey, which, by the way, have you ever been on the field when that guy's on the field? He's wound up, brother.
Really?
Shot out of a cannon.
McAfee, that's a
He's ready
game
to
day.
go. Oh, all of it.
That's
yeah,
everything. LeBron will be there.
Oh, yeah. Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn is always he flips between wherever game day is. If it's in South Bend, then he's a Notre Dame guy. If it's in Columbus, then he's a Buckeye guy.
Really?
Oh, you see him in Buckeye. Just depends where he is because he's in Rudy. So like he takes and he's from Chicago, so he's got that part of it. But like I think his dad loved the Buckeyes or something. So anytime there's a big game, you'd be in the press box in Columbus, you'd see Vince Vaughn coming out of Gene Smith's box. But the kid is going to sit for 2 years, which is just crazy in this day and age for a guy to sit.
So here's my question: if he sits for 2 years, can he play 1 year then go pro?
Yes, he'll be 3 years in. No, I don't think he's dead. I mean, Peyton stayed 4 years at Tennessee.
Correct.
He must really like college life because he hasn't transferred out of Texas, and he could have. I mean, he would have been the starting quarterback at Ole Miss. He would have been the starting quarterback at Alabama. He would have been the starting quarterback at LSU, Tennessee, all of them. And he's stuck. So he loves Texas, and he's staying there. But it's wild.
I mean, what happens if he's not the Arch Manning that everybody thinks? I mean, if you haven't played for 2 years.
That's a great question. I don't. Well, the good news is like the family's done quite well for themselves, so I think he'll be okay.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
He'll
just
be
ask
fine.
the third Manning brother.
He's killing it.
Just fine
Cooper's
too.
killing it. He opened all those hotels all over the country. Those, I think they're called the graduate hotels. Have you heard of those? They're on college campuses,
Yes.
and they build like the atmosphere is like a college campus. Like all the rooms are very specific. There's one in Columbus. But yeah, like I don't know what happens. Like, I'll be honest, like it'd be hard for him not to be great. Like he's got the pedigree. He's got the tutelage. I mean, he's under Sark, his uncles, all of it. Like, it'd be pretty crazy if he wasn't great.
I see sitting for 1 year, but now you're sitting for a second year.
Yeah, nobody does it anymore. In the old days, it was pretty common.
Yeah.
But you never see it. You just never see it anymore. So,
No.
I don't know. But that's going to be a ticket. In
I didn't
Columbus
realize
next year.
that.
That's next year.
Well,
They open
I
the
mean,
season.
they're not. Good
This
news.
year-
Ohio State's not playing Little Sisters of the Poor.
They're playing nobody this year.
Correct.
But well, they got Oregon, Michigan, Penn State, but they're all conference games.
Yes.
The first month for them's a joke.
Correct. Yeah, there's plenty of good tickets for those games.
Yeah, you're not.
No.
No, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're not doing a home and home with Marshall. Some of the you're going to be fine on that. Around the broadcasting world, WWE is hiring ESPN play-by-play voice Joe Tessador. He will lead a three-man booth for the WWE, including Corey Graves and Wade Barrett. 53-year-old Tessador will stay at ESPN and ABC as well, where he calls college football and top-ranked boxing. He will sell this to beat hell. It feels like a total natural for him.
Yes.
And also, I can't help but wonder what if, because remember, he was the voice of Monday Night Football. Mm-hmm. And he was – the problem I think he had with Monday Night Football is he called Monday Night Football the way he used to call those Saturday night SEC games. And those Saturday night SEC games were nuts. The environment is infectious. And there's an energy that comes with it. And it was him and Witten and Booger McFarland on that
Correct.
ridiculous
They surrounded
RV.
him with nothing.
Nothing. No, and he's really good. He's really good at college football.
He's joined us a couple times.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, because we were on Monday Night Football, and I remember him joining us.
Yeah.
We talked about pizza because there was a pizza joint in Connecticut his family owned and so forth. But no, he's really good at college football, and that's really, really what it's all about. But it seems to me that would fit to me with him being with WWE.
Absolutely. I feel like that's a home run for him.
Yes. Yeah, he'll sell that
He
well.
needs to stay in college football.
Yes.
And do WWE. I've not heard him do boxing, but I'm sure it's pretty good too.
So WWE moves to Netflix.
There's a lot of rumors like he's gonna do SmackDown.
Is that for the Friday?
Yes, which
So it would
puts
make more
a conflict in for Saturday.
I was just
going to
say I would think it would be more realistic for him to do Monday.
Yeah, but that's McAfee and Michael Cole.
Right, but like just from I
don't know how that works.
don't know how he could do it. I don't know how you could do, because those are live shows, right? Those
Correct.
Friday night shows. So I don't know how you could ever do a Friday night, a Friday night show, SmackDown, and then get somewhere. I guess you could if WWE or ESPN is willing to do the Herb Street and fly you private.
Yeah,
Then you could get anywhere.
and then you do the game Saturday night.
Yeah,
But I mean, isn't that the Herbie Fowler game on Saturday
that's
night?
the ABC game. He does the ESPN game.
Okay.
So Herbie Fowler will have the prime time, or I mean, they may not always have prime time. They may have, because now they have the entire SEC package. So I think Herbie and Fowler will have the SEC game of the week every week. That's going to be their game.
Gotcha.
And then the rest. But the thing is, like on some of these weekends, the SEC played the hits, man. Like Georgia is playing Texas. Alabama is playing Oklahoma. I'm going to read you. Just humor me for just a second.
Absolutely.
This is the Florida Gators football schedule. Okay,
Yeah. So
This is
in
what-
other words, they're doing what the Big Ten should have
the
done.
opposite of what the Big Ten did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Florida football schedule this year. Okay, so Florida opens against the Miami Hurricanes, who are going to be ranked probably in the top 15. Then they get Samford. Okay, that's a bye. Then Texas A&M, then Mississippi State, then UCF, who's now in the Big 12, then Tennessee, then Kentucky. Now this is Florida's November schedule. Okay, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State.
They could go 0-5.
I'm going to tell you something, buddy. I've never seen a November slate like that ever.
Not even when
That
the
is
Big Ten
five
was like
haymakers. Georgia right now is going to be first or second to start the season. Texas is going to be third or fourth to start the season. LSU is going to be top 15. Ole Miss is like 7th or 8th to start the season. Florida State's top 15.
Really?
They play 5 teams in the preseason poll who I think will be ranked in the top 15, including teams 1 and 3 or 4 in November.
Who's Ole Miss's coach?
Lane Kiffin.
That's what I was like. I thought that was Kiffin.
By the way, that's coming out of Tennessee and Kentucky and A&M and Mississippi State.
Kentucky's now pretty reputable.
I mean, that's just – but they played all the hits. So there's some weekends where, like, Herbie and Fowler will be at – like on some of these Florida games where, like, Herbie and Fowler might be – I don't know what November 2nd looks like, but let's just say that that's Alabama, Oklahoma on November 2nd. Well, that same day is Florida, Georgia, the cocktail party. So Tess could get that game or he could get the other one.
He's going to get good games.
They're going to get really good games because the SEC, as I mentioned, they played all of the hits. Some Olympic news for you. Team USA's basketball roster is unveiled. Isn't it amazing to me? It's amazing to me that LeBron's been in our life for 20 years. So he was voted most outstanding player of the Team USA camp. He's 40. He's almost 40 years old, and he's still doing it. They put a video up of him. All the offense was running through him still. Like he's still the alpha at this age. It's crazy.
Okay, the good news is I sidebarred totally, and I was looking at Week 10.
Oh, okay.
November 2nd.
Go ahead.
SEC.
Give it to me.
Ole Miss, Arkansas.
Okay.
Vanderbilt, Auburn.
Okay.
Texas A&M, South Carolina.
Okay.
Kentucky, Tennessee.
Okay.
Maine, Oklahoma. That's the University of Maine.
Oh, they must have Alabama either before or after it.
Yeah. UMass, Mississippi State, and Florida, Georgia. So Florida, Georgia will be
that's the key then.
Yep.
That's the big one.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, do you have it up? What do you got for the weekend of November 9th?
In the SEC?
Yeah.
LSU, Alabama.
Okay.
Georgia, Ole Miss.
Jeez.
Missouri, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Mississippi State. Florida, Texas. South Carolina, Vandy.
Okay. So that's the one where you have
that's
3
a
headliners.
Monster week.
So they've already set, for example, they already have the times on their games. So, like, they already have Texas, Florida being a noon game in Austin. So it's 11 a.m. local. But that game's already locked in.
Is that our bye week? God, I might go see an SEC game if that's the case.
Pick one.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all very, very good.
I mean, yeah. It's just one hit after another. Okay, you were talking about USA basketball.
We did the LeBron thing, and then the fact that he's still the alpha on this team all these years later.
I don't like this team as it's constructed.
What's your issue?
Old.
Yeah, I think they're probably – what my guess is they're trying to do is they don't want – what was the year that George Karl was the coach and we sent like Darren Williams and those guys and they got buried? They lost like 3 times.
Sure.
Twice in qualifying, and they didn't even medal, I don't think, in the damn thing. I think what they're trying to do is say, hey, LeBron, Steph, Durant, you go and show Anthony Edwards how to behave.
Yeah.
You go show him so that the next time he's an Olympian, we never have this again. That's my hunch what it's about.
Yeah. I mean, Kawhi, Tatum, LeBron, Drew Holiday, Halliburton, Embiid. Like, the problem is some of these guys can't stay healthy during a regular NBA season.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Devin Booker, Adebayo, out of
Bam
Miami.
Adebayo, yeah. I think it's probably a bunch of old heads showing young kids how to behave, and then they can turn the page on it. And where are they, Paris this year?
Yeah.
That's the other part of it.
Everybody wants to go hang out in Paris for
they're going to go to
2
Paris
weeks.
for a couple of weeks on there. They're not staying in any tent either. They're going to
be staying on a luxury yacht on the Seine. Like, remember the one year like Team USA
true.
stayed on like –
Well, wasn't it? It was in the Barcelona Olympics. They stayed in Monte Carlo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Remember Jordan with the gambling in Monte Carlo?
Barkley?
They kept trying to cover that up. What a mess. The USA select team who scrimmaged in the Olympic team is made up of all NBA players except for 17-year-old Duke commit Cooper Flagg. So this kid
Good job
is
by you, Brock, throwing that
this is
Duke
the
in.
this is the next kid. Is this kid?
Yeah.
He's from Maine.
Correct.
And he's graduated a year early to go to Duke.
Yeah.
Like,
and he'll be a one and done.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, people are already tanking for him. Like Chicago's tanking for him. Brock, you watch a lot. You're a hooper. You play a little bit of the hoop. So you think the kid, does he check all the boxes necessary? Give me an NBA comp.
Yeah. I honestly, KD would be my NBA comp.
Okay.
He can stretch the floor, shoot. He's long. He's probably going to be a better defender than KD. Block shots.
And he's almost like 7 feet tall, right? He's tall.
Yeah,
6'10".
I'd say a little short. I'd say like 6'8", 6'9".
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay, so he's not 7. Okay.
Shire, you better do something with him.
And he graduated high school early. Did he go to like Monteverde or something?
I think
or
it was.
IMG,
Yeah,
one of those.
Yeah, Montverde. Yeah.
Yeah, or Montverde. Yeah. So he wasn't going to. He didn't stay in high school. Yeah. Can you imagine
Maine
like
high school.
Can you imagine like this kid being developed in Maine?
Going to the great
Just think
Northeast.
about that. Like this kid just comes from Maine and is the best. And he's been like my kids know about him. Like my 12-year-old's been talking about this kid. Oh, Dad, you got to see him on this, on Snap. He's on this. Look at this video of him. I'm like, why do I care about a 15-year-old kid from Maine?
You're about to.
And now we're about to.
Yeah.
And there's 2 in a row, right? Because it's Boozer's kid who's really good in 2026.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the Darren Peterson kid is legit. The kid from Akron.
You've talked about him.
Dude, he's the best. Again, I didn't see LeBron in person playing high school. He's the best high school basketball player I've ever seen in person is the Peterson kid. So he went to Huntington Prep last year. I'm not sure if he's going back there this year or not. Do you know? I'm not sure. But he's like the number 3 player in this class. So it's like Flag. And then he's actually he's the same age as Boozer. He's 26 is when he will go. But yeah, there's some incredible talent. Ohio's got some incredible talent.
Yeah.
Jerry Easter kid can go. The kid from Toledo, the Crumble kid from up here, Johnson, Michi's cousin, is really, really good. He's committed to Ohio State. Yeah, there is a ton of talent on that side of things. All right, Z, one-on-one with Jamari Thrash coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, Browns fans, ever want to go to New Orleans for a Browns game? True Fan Travel, official fan experience partner of your Cleveland Browns, hosting premium trip travel packages for Browns fans. Oh, yeah, I'll get to meet and hang out with our good buddy Kevin Mack. Visit truefantravel.com and reserve your ultimate Browns package today. And now, this is a crossover, a BPA CBD.
Throwing a little BPA in.
I like it, a BPA CBD crossover. So here's Gibbe with Jamari Thrash, our 5th-round pick out of Louisville.
And happy to be you're down 5th-round pick, Jamari Thrash from Louisville by way of Georgia State. I want to give a lot of credit to Georgia State because I feel like they got you to that next level. So when you got to Louisville, you were able to showcase everything in a Power 5 type conference.
Yes,
Let's start there and your journey through from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You had a number of offers for colleges. Why Georgia State?
Georgia State always just kept in touch with me. To be honest, I had the best relationship with them. They came to my school every Friday. They never missed a game. They even came to my basketball games, and they was right up the road. They was an hour away. So I just feel like I just had a great relationship with the coaches there.
So at Georgia State, you have a good relationship. You go there. What were your goals going into college?
My goal going into college really just go out and just be myself. When I got there, my freshman year I played probably like 2 or 3 games, but I redshirted. So after that, I just wanted to take time, build my body, learn more, and just study the game.
So did you have a chance to leave earlier, or did you wait until after your 4 years at Georgia State?
You talking about getting the portal?
Yeah.
I think Nah.
Okay.
No. Actually, the year that I blew up, well, the year that my best year I had there, I actually had the 2 guys that were ahead of me all those following years. They actually left, so that's what kind of led me to stay.
Gotcha. So at Georgia State, is there a memorable moment that stands out to you?
Probably when we beat Tennessee. I was a freshman, so I didn't play that game, but just being there,
being on the sidelines,
and it just got loud. Like probably the loudest game I played in was probably Auburn when they blocked the kick, and then I swear to God, I felt the ground shake. Like I ain't never been in the stadium that loud. Auburn got loud. But that was probably my biggest or my best memory. Probably when we played Tennessee and we beat them.
All right, so you have a very good career. Number one, you were a great high school player.
Mm-hmm.
You go on to Georgia State. You have a lot of success. Transfer portal after 4 years. You end up at Louisville. What made you decide on Louisville?
Well, to be honest with you, I got in the portal kind of late because I was going to stay. I was going to stay at Georgia State, but I talked to my parents, and they just felt like that was the right decision for me to make. So when I got in the portal on a Thursday, and it closed on a Sunday. So I had a short window to choose my school. So once I got in the portal on that Thursday, I went to work. I had a job, so I was going to work. My phone was blowing up. So I just had to take time out of my job and go answer phone calls, talk to different coaches. So I went to Auburn first. Auburn is only like an hour away from my hometown. I was an Auburn fan.
Gotcha.
So I went to Auburn. Things didn't really go right with the academics. So I went to Louisville on that Friday. And stayed all the way until Sunday. And so when I went to Louisville, went to a basketball game with Coach Brown, and the fans were coming up to Brown telling them how excited they were about him coming back. And over time, I'm learning a lot. I'm picking up information. So I didn't know Coach Brown was from Louisville. I didn't know he played there. I didn't know his brother played there. Like he's got a real history there, like him and his family. So just over time, I started hearing stuff and started picking up on a lot of stuff. And it just felt right. And just seeing what he did for Charlie Jones the year before, and knowing I played the same position as Charlie Jones, it just made a lot of sense for me to go there.
What was the best part of Louisville, not necessarily affiliated with football?
Probably the community. When I got there, and that's another thing that made me go there as well, it reminded me of my hometown a lot. So when I got there, I was just able to fit in with the community, fan base, and just everybody there. So, yeah, probably the community.
Okay. So you work your way through. You go to Louisville. You have a lot of success, and also having a lot of success while dealing with a hand injury.
Mm-hmm.
How tough was that mentally, physically, and how do you think that made you a better football player at the end of the day?
I never missed a game ever in my life. Until I broke my hand, and I still played. I came back the following week and played, and I think the week after that I skipped the game. But once I broke my hand, it taught me a lot about adversity, and mentally, and not only mentally but and physically. So in practice, I got this big thick pad in my glove. I'm trying to catch, but I can't catch the ball. So and nobody's hard on me. Nobody's harder on me than myself. So if I drop a ball, I'm hard on myself. But I also had to take the time. I had to tell myself, like, man, you just had surgery yesterday. Like I had surgery. I had emergency surgery Sunday. Came back to practice on, like, Tuesday. I'm still trying to catch. I'm like, all right, Thrash, like, you got to realize, like, you fresh out of surgery. Like, everything gonna click soon. You just got to be patient. So that's something that I just really just was in my head about. But over time, I was able to catch the ball. Swelling had started going out a little bit. So over time, I was slowly getting back to myself.
I mean, you were leading. You were one of the leading receivers, if not the leading receiver on that football team when you got hurt. Is there a moment that stands out to you from your time at Louisville on the football field?
Definitely when we beat Notre Dame. We beat Notre Dame, crowd stormed the field, and that was something that I'm not used to. So, yeah, I wasn't used to that. And then just taking pictures with fans. You know, when I went to Louisville, I actually got treated like I was one of those guys. So I could go to the grocery store, people know who I am. So that was kind of an adjustment I had to make when I went to Louisville. But it's all love.
Okay. Jamari Thrash joins us, a wide receiver, 5th-round pick out of Louisville and Georgia State, and happy to have him here on the Cross Country Mortgage campus. You go to the Senior Bowl after your college days are done. Kelly Bronson, wide receiver coach, but on the other team. But someone saw something in you at the Senior Bowl, and this Browns regime has done a great job year in and year out of finding talent at the Senior Bowl every year to draft, whether it's on day 2, whether it's on day 3. What was that experience like? And did you get a feel that the Browns at that point might be interested in you during the Senior Bowl?
Nah. The experience I had at the Senior Bowl was a great experience. First and foremost, just being in that same room I was in the room with Ladd, Xavier Legette, just being in the same room with those guys and seeing, you know, what separates them from everybody else and seeing what separates me from those guys, and just being in the competition, the competitiveness in that room, it just brought a lot out of me. So, and just seeing that when I actually went to the Senior Bowl, I was like, okay, like, I'm actually here, like, I'm actually like, I might be good at football, like, so.
I think you were pretty good before that.
So when I got there, that kind of solidified me. I feel like that kind of solidified me as, you know, I'm actually pretty good at football. So just being in the same room with those guys and just learning different things from them and different things. Because I think Coach Brown was our head coach from New England. Yep. So he was our head coach. So just being there,
pretty good coach to learn from too.
So just learning different schemes and being able to show my versatility, it helped me a lot throughout this process.
All right. So when was your first interaction with the Browns?
Probably the combine.
Okay. All right. Did you meet with them in the booth? What was that interview process like? What was that whole interview like? Those are pretty intense sessions.
Yeah, I just went in. I was just being myself. Coach O'Shea actually did my interview. He actually drove a couple plays, had me speak a lot of football knowledge back to him, and so he wanted to see how fast I retained a lot of information. So I just went in there with just being myself and just was able to talk ball with Coach.
And that translates into rookie minicamp weekend, obviously. Yeah, and I'll ask you real quick about the draft in just a moment. But I watched something from Dan Orlovsky from ESPN, and he pulls out his rookie minicamp playbook, or you know, the playbook that they were given. It was Kyle Shanahan's from the Houston Texans in like 2007. And he's like, you know, the amount of things that get thrown at you rookie minicamp weekend, because it's all designed to see how much you can retain and how quickly you can retain it and take it to the football field. Have you noticed that here in your first couple days?
Yeah, yes, sir. Right now they got me playing. They got me doing a lot of moving around. So, and Coach Osei showed me. He's told me I'm doing a pretty good job of, you know, retaining a lot of information and handling it. So, yeah, I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it so far.
Good. Glad to hear it. The draft call. Where were you? What was going on in your house? And what was it like?
I was just sitting there waiting on my phone call. I thought I was gonna get picked early. So the first round they took 7 receivers in the first round. So I'm like, okay, I could possibly go third. I wasn't thinking so. I was thinking third. I didn't get picked third, and so now I was in Atlanta too. But matter of fact, I was in Atlanta, family, friends around. So we just sitting there waiting. And what's so crazy? I was showing my brother because my agent came to me. He was like, all right, look, like these next 5 teams, they could possibly grab a receiver. And my name was on the board next. Well, I was like on NFL Network, I was like one of the best available receivers. So it was New England was on the board. It was Cleveland, I think like the Panthers, Dallas, and somebody else. So I'm actually showing my brother. Like the list. I'm like, all right, I can get picked up by one of these teams. And as soon as I showed him Cleveland, it was something Ohio. It was something Ohio number. Right. So I answered. I'm like, hello. He's like, hey, this is the Cleveland Browns. We're finna FaceTime. I'm like, cool. So I go upstairs. I'm trying to grab my hat. I'm talking to talking to Mr. Berry on the phone. He's like, yeah, man, we finna select you with the in the 5th round. So I'm looking for my hat, I'm grabbing my hat. So I tell my people, like, yeah, it's Cleveland. So now we're just waiting on the pop up on the TV.
It's weird because before it happens. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're already excited, but you got to kind of hide the excitement a little bit. But that moment, I'm sure, when it comes up on the TV for you and your family, is something you're never going to forget.
Yeah, and it's super surreal because, like me, I'm a real laid back kind of guy. Like I don't really show a lot of emotion. So, once I got my name called, it didn't really hit me yet. It didn't really hit me until I got up here that I'm actually in the NFL. So
yeah.
So really, I just really trying to take everything a day at a time.
What are your goals as you get ready here? I mean, there's a lot being thrown at you. It's rookie minicamp, then you're going to go into the off-season program and join the vets, and it all leads into mandatory minicamp. What's your goal? What do you want to, really work on and hone before training camp at the end of July?
Probably, just get get faster, stronger. I want to be able to. I don't want to say. I want to be able to master the playbook. I want to be able to master the playbook because they're throwing a lot at me right now, but it's nothing I can't handle. So whenever I come back, I just want to be able to be on my P's and Q's.
I know you got places to be, meetings, and
30 seconds, you'll have a minute.
Said and done. Welcome to Cleveland. We're excited to have you. I will tell you, I was going back through history. Antonio Brown, 6th round pick. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, 5th round picks. Make a name.
Yes,
it starts on special teams and goes from there. I know you were a gunner in college, but I wish you all the best of luck. Enjoy Bubba Ventrone because he's a wild and crazy guy, but he's awesome. And Ken Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski and Coach O'Shea are really going to take you places. Wish you all the best of luck and continued success.
You're up.
All right, there you go. And, we were talking, you and I were talking in the break, Gibbe, about how, in the old days with this roster, a guy like this, 5th round pick, you go, hey, maybe this guy could come in and play. Maybe he could be someone who could sneak in and start if you landed one. He's just going to have to work like hell to make the team. And that's with most of the guys we drafted. They're going to have to work like hell to make the team because the roster's as good as it is.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
It is, yes.
It is. I don't know what – we'll figure out what the heck's going to happen.
It's not the most interesting
The storylines in August are going to be a little rough.
No, they just are what they've been, and this is the product of having a good team.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of questions here or there.
And get us to week 1 in Dallas, against Dallas.
That's it, yeah. We got to talk to Coach about making sure we wear white at home that game. Make them wear blue.
He
would know that as a Philly guy.
I would think so.
He would know that. Next Level's up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.